All right, running a little late already. Just getting caught up on things. Call the meeting to order. About 9:04. Okay. Yes, please.
Mike Copine,
Here.
Marilyn Shippert.
Yes.
Jack Scrogstead,
Here.
Mike Zeman,
Here.
Katie White, Gene Hudson.
Good.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, if you would, please mute or turn off your cell phones. Have you had a chance to take a look at the meeting from the minutes from the previous meeting? If so, are there any corrections or additions? If not, they'll stand approved as read. Okay, visitors. Tracy, do you have anything? Any comments? Not yet, okay. Wendy?
Good morning, everyone. Just a couple FYIs. Just so you know, coming down the pike is going to be a number of topics for the full board, starting with the Finance Committee has approved or basically has a budget prepared and ready to recommend to the full board. So that'll be on your agenda. The levy request, which is the request for funding from property tax, is prepared and will be on your agenda for this month. Both of those are ordinances, so they'll lay over until November, but you're going to be getting the information on those in your packet. Also in your packet this month is going to be a very large document, which I'm going to apologize in advance for, but it has to do with the PACE. PACE, if you remember a couple months ago, this board approved the PACE program, the economic development tool that would allow, financing for developers specific to renewable energy types of improvements they would do to their property. So what you're going to see this month is all of those implementation documents that need to be approved by the board. So there'll be regarding that. And then the other thing, for those of you that were at the strategic planning meeting, the ARPA strategic planning meeting the other day, you heard us talking about the idea of improvements to this room for technology upgrades. And part of that process was going to be an onboard, that's the name of the software, but a board organizational software program and tablets that we're going to be moving forward out of finance and executive committees to be able to get that set up so that in the next 3 to 4 months, we could have that process up and running for all of you as board members. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to just give you an FYI on. If you get these items in your packet and you have any questions and want to reach out to me, please do so. Other than that, if anyone has any questions for me right now, I will take questions. Other than that, Mike, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Any questions?
No, it hasn't. That's what we're looking for, Mike, through executive. And I will add to this that while the strategic planning session was, of course, as I said, we were building consensus around what the board wanted. I was moving forward, Mike, on this from the very beginning with the understanding that would be paid for out of the county's capital, not ARPA. So there's still a question to be decided as to whether ARPA would pay for it or the county's capital reserves would pay for it, or whether the answer is, yeah, we're not going to go forward with that at all. So at the Finance and Executive Committee meetings, I'm looking for some direction from the board.
All those wonderful presentations. Fast, like, how do we pick two? I knew we didn't.
That is correct. But nothing there was a formal approval process. It was rather just where's the consensus. And between now and then, speaking of that ARPA strategic planning, what staff will be doing is we'll be coming back to the board then with more formalized administrative processes for any one of those top 5 priorities. Again, this was kind of moving forward on its own path before it got to the ARPA strategic plan. And so my question is going to be to the board, how do you want to manage this? Do you want to move forward or not? And Marilyn and Jack were both on the committee with me that did some of those demonstrations. And so if you two have anything to add to that onboard conversation, feel free to do so. But in the meantime, it'll go before finance and exec.
From what I saw, Jack, I think will back me up that it's just fabulous. It will move this board into the 21st century. We can
Would
get-
it allow remote voting, like
That-
being at home?
That has to be determined by the board rules.
Software.
I think you can in the software, but whether board rules allow it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Marin's correct. The software allows it. It's up to the board rules. And keep in mind that the idea of remote is very limited under the Open Meetings Act to 3 different opportunities. You're either out for a health issue, a board member could be out for a health issue, a family member's health issue, or out of the area and not able to attend physically because of some sort of a business. So you'd have to, in order for you to vote remotely, you'd have to meet one of those 3 criterias, and our board rules would have to be adopted to allow your ability to attend remotely based on those. And those board rules are still out there for consideration. We haven't approved those either as a full board. So there's some pieces we've got to put in place, but Marilyn's correct. The software would allow us to vote sitting in this room or remotely and have that all be tabulated up on a screen.
Any more questions? Okay, if not. Amy?
I
Morning.
have nothing.
Nothing. I don't either. Okay. Sheriff. Mr. Boonstra, any comments?
No comments. I've got something later on the agenda, but that's it.
That sounds dangerous. Okay.
Nope, I promise. It's an easy one.
I'm sorry.
No, I just stepped in.
Sitting there.
No,
Just snuck in.
I just snuck in. I have nothing at this time. Thanks, Mike.
I thought there was something in the coffee there. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll start into the claims. Mr. Scrogstad.
All right, this is for circuit clerk. I don't know what count it is, but
It should be
It's at
right
the
up-
top, Jack.
Right up at the top there.
top, there's a lot of stuff at the top.
Come on, Jack.
Start at the very top, to where there's no more writing and then.
Okay, it's 007 002 530303.
Okay, they're all 3 separate account numbers.
Okay.
Each paper there will have the
Okay.
page 1 with the
Well, it's
number on it.
530303. And it's for SBM for $124.72.
Yep.
Other SBM for $141.59.
Yep.
SBM $23.56. Creative printing, $461.12. Concisus Corp, $900.
Total, Mike?
Which account have you got on that, Mike?
Uh,
General
The court document storage.
or document? Okay, thank you.
oh, yeah,
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
1,650.99.
Thank you.
Okay, US Bank, $210.90. And Amy Johnson, $55.44.
Mike, this is clerk operation administration fund. Total 266.34.
26634.
That is correct.
What was the account again, Mike, please? Circuit, the
Circuit clerk operations administration fund. You need the number,
008.
89.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have one US Bank, $7.38.
Child Support Enforcement Fund, $7.38.
One more time, Mike, please.
$7.38.
Thank you.
All right, next one, Sheriff's Department, I think it's tow fund.
Yeah.
There is only one for $276.25 to Nick Nielsen.
Oh, Mike,
What's the account number on that?
092 004 580 501.
Why am I not seeing that?
That's the sheriff.
Sheriff's.
You start the sheriffs already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All right.
I haven't seen the ball since kickoff. Okay. One more time so I can get them started there.
You want the total or
Total,
the name of the?
no, total.
276.25.
Okay.
Another Sheriff's Department. ISP Bureau of Identification, $20.25.
Like 28, 25. $8.25.
Is that listed under a separate account number?
070.
Just just give me the last two numbers
Oh,
of the account number.
590030.
'Cause I'll have to total them all to get them on.
You know, I found the one month that you were absent, Mike, and I was doing that. There's more funds in the sheriff's department than we have lines on that sheet.
Right. We'd probably have another sheet of line items to tally up, but that's not a sarcastic mark, Sheriff.
Well, I think that reporting needs to be modified to include lines for all the separate funds. What I'm saying.
Those are the, Mike, those are the reserve funds. So your first three numbers will be different for those 5 funds. So the drug fund is 070 to differentiate from like the arrestee fund or the tow fund. So you'll see the tow fund is 092, arrestee fund will be 065. That's the next one coming up. So
My point is that they're not itemized on that sheet that Mike's filling out.
Right.
Clarified in the future.
You ready?
Go ahead, Jack. I'm
All
sorry.
right, this is from the arrestee medical fund. Mississippi Centers, $1,425.
That was the only one, Mike. $1,425.
Thank you.
Remainder should be the 001.
Okay. Advanced correctional. 7,149.17. Consolidated food or consolidated corrections. $9,903. $0.58. Dixon Auto Body, $2,017.38. KSB, $239.52. Bill Presley, $12.15. Shane Miller, $475. Eric Rankin, $186.04. Going by Deb, $257. Sauk Valley Collision, $1,109.57. Big Eckert, $123.99. I Touch Biometrics, $990. University of Illinois, $6,659. Wex, $8,054.36. Johnson Oil, $283.94.
Total in that, like, $37,460.70.
Thank you. Should have a quarter in there and EMA, Jack.
All right, this is EMAs. Wex, $192.97. Arbeck Communications, $1,916.66. US Bank, $183.67.
Yep.
SBM, $71.
Yep.
Dingus Fire, $129.40.
Total, Mike, $2,493.70. 2493.
Thank you.
Binder clip goes to.
Yeah.
This corner claims, I don't know which one it is. It says there,
Line items.
well, the account. Corner got a bunch of different accounts.
It's only got two, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Just
087.
I've got two here.
two, okay.
All right,
County
US,
General and then the Corners Fund.
US Bank, $232. Finch Corp, $225.
Total, Mike, $457.
Thank you.
Just go in your file, Sheriff, Coroner.
I've got a,
She's got it.
I've got a separate one, yeah. All right, answering innovations. $111.99. And Yeomans, $925. Mark Peters, $750. NMS, $701. City of Peoria, $553.40.
Yep.
Pat Fox, $160.
Total, Mike, $3,201.39.
Thank you. You want to?
I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
There you go, yeah.
You guys are handling it. I don't care.
Third one. All right, I think this is general fund. State's attorney. Leaf, $1,523.80. Sauk Valley Media, $115.10. SBM, $248.28.
485.
Man,
Just like-
dyslexic today. $485.28. I'm not even gonna, can't even write it either. US Bank, $150. US Bank, $16.22. Verizon, $98.54. West, $2,202.40.
Don't even try.
Justina,
Now,
Take a swing at it.
I gotta take a swing. Ella Sawizigik,
Holoshavitz?
Huh?
Holoshavitz?
$219.63.
Total, Mike, is $4,810.97.
Thank you.
All right, State's Attorney, this is the Veterans Court. Mowbray, $200. Mississippi Centers, $564.80. Mississippi Centers, $250 even. Reconnect, 3,500. US Bank, 2,000.
Yep.
Verizon, $84.46.
Yep. Total of $6,599.26.
Thank you.
This is out of OBW. What's that acronym again?
I'm sorry.
What's the OBW mean?
It's our Violence Against Women grant.
All right, legal transportation, $1,000. SBM, $46.29. US Bank, $3,035.38. US Bank, $95. US Bank, $95. US Bank, $2,486.03. US Bank, 900. US Bank, 145. US Bank, 275. US Bank, 498. US Bank, $479.21.
Total money of $9,054.91. 9,054.91.
And with this one too, if I can just interject real quick, you'll notice that there was quite a bit more spent this last month for the OVW grant. And the reason for that is the grant came to an end last month. We've actually applied for and received funding for the next 3 years for the same grant. So we're really happy about that. I was really proud of Sarah and Patty from my office. They put in a lot of effort to get that grant through again. So we'll have that again for the next 3 years with an option to extend to the 4th year. But again, some of these that you see, like the US Bank for $3,000 and another one for $2,486, because we still had money left in that grant we had to spend in order to be able to still use it. So we used that up in the last month, and now we're good for another 3 years.
Good, thank you. Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead and give me that one, and then Stacy, you're up down there. We just have one there.
Public Defender's Office, just one. US Bank for $228.48.
Public defender, Mike, $228.48.
Got it, thanks. Okay,
Okay, I got probation here.
Okay.
First one is for Dependent Children Fund, $135. And that's it.
Oh. I should call that.
Oh, yeah. See, I've been sitting here so long doing nothing.
Stacy, is that, you know, the number on that, is that 077?
It's, there should be a breakdown under 001 of two different things. It's out of our county general, but I think you break out.
All right,
Okay, the next one is drug court, which is 080.
back up just a second, Marilyn, if you would, please,
Yeah.
on the one that we just took out of county general. I need that total again.
$135.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Marilyn?
Yes,
US bank card, $500.
okay.
Want your share?
You'll take the corners and also
Oh,
EMA.
Corners, yeah. Yeah.
Should be Redwood toxicology.
Yeah. Redwood toxicology, $136.02.
For a total out of drug court of $636.02.
Thank you.
636.02. And the next one is probation services, 017.
Jack Scrogstead, $490. SBM, $150.78. Ranger, $106.74. Huffman Car Wash, $13. US Bank Card, $1,013.62. Verizon Wireless, $295.75. US Bank Card, $69.50. Will, $159.64. Redwood Toxicology, $290.94.
For a total out of probation services for $2,589.97. 2589.97.
Thank you. Oh,
Do we have anything from judges?
pardon me?
Judges, do we have anything from them?
Yeah, I've got a whole stack
Okay.
here. Hold on, combine those two totals. Okay. Well, I take that back. That first one might be library fund. Does she have a fund number on it? 004? No,
0404.
Okay.
0404.
The judges, for West payment, $328.
Mike, $328.
Thank you.
Okay. Language line, $40.65.
Yep.
US Bank, 243.77.
She's got 68.77.
Yeah, with a for a total of, yeah, they must have it twice listed there.
What was it?
243.77.
Okay.
Good. Have US Bank grouped together, or she got them all?
Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're individual items.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read them to you. 292.95, 293.76, 97.22, 136.05, 280.37, 495.42.
2, I think we're going to.
Yeah, they've got that list of miscellaneous supplies.
I've got the 293.76. Got the 280.37. Got the 97.22. And then there's 2, they must add up to 631.47. What was the other?
Okay. 136.05, 280.37.
Yeah, this. But I didn't. She must have lumped.
So the total here is this one. So that's that there. Well, I mean,
But there were
I'm
more,
sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm good back. Sorry. We can work on it. All right, next. West Payment Center, 736.05.
Yep.
$620 for another West Payment Center.
Yep.
EGBC, I'm gonna go back, 618.75.
Yep.
Sorensen, 194.08. I bet. On purpose.
No, I,
SBM 216.
yeah. That's it.
You got Sorensen.
That's all. It's 194.
Okay. Mississippi Centers 210.37. Another SBM 247.67. SBM $49.
Yep.
Hinkley Springs 125.93. Mississippi Centers $160.90.
Total with that one, Mike, is $5,058.94.
Thank you. Okay, we're through the claims. Entertain a motion to approve claims.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, the same.
Abstain.
Okay, Beck.
Question.
Yes.
We've got a quorum with Jack here, but with Jack abstaining, do we have a quorum to vote on?
Need a majority for claims.
I don't want to be.
Oh, you know, yeah. Also, we can't play it. Yeah.
He's the one that's gonna end up on the short end of the stick, so. Okay. Charlie, anything new on the collection of fines or anything? We haven't discussed it for a while. If you don't have anything, well, we're not gonna worry about it.
Sure, I can give you a little bit of an update. So collections paid to date of this year, and we don't have October's yet. We won't probably get that until the 30th. To date, Lee County has received $34,881.57. Total collections received, that would include what is paid to Harris as well, is $46,981.18. Last month, the total that Lee County received was $2,024.14.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on that at all? Sounds like it's moving along pretty good,
It is, yeah, it improved drastically since we started in 2019.
but thank you. Sheriff, anything outstanding as far as the abandoned properties or vehicles or anything?
Nothing new. Jake Amasquita is now our civil process deputy, so he's kind of following Jared's footsteps and following up. I know I just talked to him late last week about another couple properties he's looking at and serving notices to. So still working on it. There is, I don't know if there's, I would call it movement or not, but we are continuing to work on the 251 and 30 property, the old abandoned motel, and received some information that the potential owner has been there visiting the property on a couple of occasions. So we're trying to make contact with him as best we can. I've also notified ISP because they actually seen his car there at one point in time while they're over there at the scale house. So no cell phone, no good addresses yet for us to reach out to him. So hopefully we can use that information to further notice him. And I've been in contact with Charlie's office. We did follow up on who we believe with the potential owner was spending time in the Department of Corrections is currently out. So that's the person we're trying to reach out to get some more information on that property. Also found out that property taxes were paid on that particular property by a tax buyer. if you will, for 2 years, has not picked up the tax notice for this year yet. But as I understand, if they pay the taxes for 3 years, they have the opportunity to then purchase or become the owner of that property. Is that correct, Charlie? Is that how we understand that? If they pay the taxes for 3 years, they can then apply to become the owner of that property.
I think
A
that's
little-
true. But I don't-
It's different for residential versus commercial properties. There's a little bit different rules in place, but generally speaking, you're accurate, John. Although I will tell you that what we find more often than not with a property like this, that when the tax buyer figures out what it is they've been paying taxes on, they come to the courts and ask for a sale and error because they don't really want to take possession of the property. So that could be a hurdle as well, but generally speaking, 3 years.
That's just some updated information just for the committee, because I know we've been talking about this for years now. And so I don't know if we're getting any closer or not, but we're still working on it and we do have some updated information. So we'll continue to work on it, see what we can get.
Tanks on that property, underground.
I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to the health department. I know they've done some work on the wells and things of that nature, but I'm not sure about fuel tanks. Mike, can you remember back in the day? I know the other 2 properties on the south side of the intersection, both east and west, had fuel, but I don't know about that one. Not sure.
I don't, as long as I've been around and did patrol that area, I do not recollect ever seeing pumps there that would indicate that there's a tank. So I'm
I don't
not
remember
sure,
either.
but from my recollection, no.
I mean, that's from my recollection from the early 80s, but you can go back a little further.
We go back to the sixties.
1 or 2 months, Sheriff, that'll work. Yeah, you're correct on the south side of that corner. Yes, there was a gas station. Pina, I think is what it was called years ago,
Right,
but
yeah.
I've never seen anything on that particular part of the property or corner.
John, there's a property sitting south of Lee Center on Lee Center Road. Do you have any knowledge of there's anything transitioning on this?
That's kind of wide open. I don't know which one you're talking about for sure.
Well,
Be
south of Lee
specific.
Center, I don't remember the exact address. I think it's an 1800. There's a residential property that there's about 15, 18 there were mobile homes that came out of the tornado at Woodhaven Lakes. The old 2-story frame house.
I think Larry Greer
Yep.
has
Rears and everything.
association with the property, and there are, I haven't counted them because some of them you probably can't even see, but the whole property is littered with damaged, abandoned or whatever trailers, camping trailers.
It's on Inlet Road or?
Yeah, no, Lee Center Road, it would be just north of Shear Road.
About a mile,
Oh, okay.
mile and a half
Yeah.
south.
I know what you're
Lee Center.
talking about now.
He
Yeah,
lives
I don't know.
there.
Is D,
I think D
Aware
has
of it?
some activity going on that. I'd have to double check with her to see,
yeah, that would be where it would start, certainly, and then.
but it'll take, if you have to write paperwork on each trailer that's there, take a supply of paperwork, because I think there's been some that have been scrapped and probably moved out, but there's probably 2 or 3 fold that many left yet that have to have access.
As of last weekend, there was some movement of property. Some of the trailers have been taken out of there. But Larry Greer is the owner of the property. Just
Yeah, we
curious,
can have
you
a
know,
discussion with D and then see, if he's making some progress, that's good. I mean, if he's continuing to collect and not doing anything with them, then we got another issue, but slow progress is better than no progress. So,
She's doing pretty good. I mean, as far as the responses, she's been doing pretty good. You can't do anything if you don't have a response. I think as long as we're on the properties, I think Eller and Wiley's kind of come to a standstill since they've had an injury out there.
yeah.
I don't know where we stand. We'll have to probably check with Mr. Boonstra on that.
Oh, and I guess I thought about one other one. Magnuson Hotel is back up and running. So, for what that's worth.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on anything? Okay. Under old business, UTV discussion, Sheriff, do you have anything that could be added? I don't think we could get in a half an hour to an hour discussion on this one, and I think with where we're at, with the research that's being done and decisions to be made, unless you have something new, I don't think there's too much more to add.
No, Jack's run a good meeting and, you know, there's, I think, he and I have talked about it. Aside from the meeting, getting into this, it's kind of morphed into something much bigger and more maybe complex than what we anticipated. With all the different things you want to consider, I believe everybody's coming into it very neutral. And thinking about both aspects, you know, from the safety side and also considering those that like to ride the UTVs and trying to develop some type of compromise between both to see if we can get them in Lee County. I know from our discussion at the last meeting, we talked a little bit about out of state or out of county riders and considering maybe in a reciprocal agreement if they're registered, have valid registration, I should say, in another state, at least for the interim first year, 2 years of this, if the ordinance is passed, we could recognize that as valid registration. I kind of liken that to, you know, pulling my boat up to Minnesota where I've got registration for the trailer and registration for the boat through Illinois, through DNR and Secretary of State. Minnesota doesn't require anything further than that as long as you have valid registration. So somewhat of a reciprocal agreement. And it's something that I know the committee's considering. We've talked a little bit about, you know, designating certain roads that they could ride on versus just the entire county system of county and township roads. And, you know, considering the speed limits and things like that. So a lot of discussions are still taking place. Good discussions and a lot of forward thinking, which is what I really asked the board to do when they tabled this, is because there were so many things and discussions that we've had. I just want to make sure that when we do pass this ordinance and have everything in place, we're ready to go and don't look disorganized and can't answer certain questions from those that do want to ride the roadways. Just basically have all our ducks in a row before that time period. So I couldn't even give you a potential date that we could even initiate this until the committee moves a little bit further.
I keep getting asked, you know, south of 30, but I don't commit any proposed time either. I just said that everybody, you know, there's a committee for it. Everybody's researching what needs to be put in place and that we would like to have everything put in place so that there's not a lot of gray area to have to approach if questions come up or problems arise. So I think it's going in a good direction. It's better to take the time to do the research and get it right the first time rather than have to keep, you know, returning to it. Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on that topic?
Been a long time in transportation talking about it, and you know, Jack's there and Jack's chair of the UTV committee. So
I appreciate what the transportation committee and transportation solid waste committee put some forth into it and helping with the determination of taking into consideration what the law requires, speed, volume, and characteristics. And they came to a concession of what those roads would be. So now it's just where we're at right now is we're waiting for our next meeting is to maybe hammer out the specifics of the ordinance, not necessarily the logistics of it yet. So that way we can take that information to townships and the different cities and villages throughout Lee County to see if we're able to operate UTVs based on our consensus of what that UTV ordinance would be. And so that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you, Jack. That's all under old business. Under new business, first topic is Amboy ordinance violations handled by Lee County State's attorney. And
I can take it from here.
I look like I got the back end of a turkey up here with flags that are coming up only because of my interactions with the potential of that situation down. What are we doing?
So Amboy reached out to us and wanted to know if we'd be willing to take on their city ordinance violations for prosecution. We've had some conversations with them in terms of what that would look like, what we'd be handling, what the expectations would be. I'll say the short and skinny of it is we would be handling prosecutions from the initiation to any type of disposition. However, if there would be a jury trial demand, then it would go back to their city attorney to do so. It wouldn't be my office handling that. For each citation that would be filed that is prosecuted by my office, we would be looking at the county getting $75 per citation. It's on the agenda today because I'm just looking to see if this is something that the county board is interested in, if this is something that we would like to pursue and move forward on. And if so, then I would just be looking for a recommendation from the committee to the full board.
Okay, I have a question. We're talking about ordinance violations.
Correct.
Let me put a hyphen in there. Motion to abate. What is the difference? And are we going to, as the state's attorney's level, handle it as an ordinance violation? Or is it going to be termed a motion to abate where they get their hand slapped, a fine, and go right back to square one again? As I had that scenario happen to me several years ago.
I guess I'd have to ask the question of, I'm not sure what you mean by the motion to abate, because ours would be specifically, just like the county code, if there's a nuisance violation, if there's something along the lines of a specific ordinance violation, that would be a lesser included, I'd say, criminal offense.
Well, I understand it. A lot of them aren't really a criminal offense, so to
Sure.
speak, as
Yeah.
much as an
Your grass
ordinance
is a little long or
violation.
whatever it may
But
be.
years
Yeah.
ago, like I said, I had a scenario that took place on the block that I lived in, and it ended up being explained to me that it was a motion to abate rather than an ordinance violation.
Okay. I don't know about that because they'd still just be filed at the circuit clerk's office as ordinance violations.
Okay, I just wondered if it was going to stay in that.
Should be, yeah. I'm not familiar with their motion to abate.
No, I don't want to go there. So, but that's why I was asking, because if we're going to treat each ordinance that they have as a motion to abate, the form that it was, explained to me,
Sure.
it seems kind of fruitless to go in that direction because they get a hand slapped, a fine, and the day after they're right back even with nothing.
Sure. And I guess the way that I looked at if you're going to say a motion to abate, that to me is more like an injunctive filing. And that would be something that the city attorney would still have to do. Again, if it's a city ordinance violation, as I was describing before, we still retain the ability to decline to prosecute something as well. We're not forced to do something just because they filed that ordinance violation. And if that does happen, then we just inform them we're not proceeding on this. And they still have every right to have their city attorney pursue that if they'd like to.
How do other municipalities handle ordinance violations?
City of Dixon has Pete Bew, who is retained to do their ordinance violations. I know Morrison, Illinois, over in Whiteside County has the state's attorney's office doing their ordinance violations as well. And just like we're handling the Lee County ordinance violations, that's what we'd be doing in terms of the municipality.
Any more questions on that? Do you want a motion made to forward that on to executive, or?
If you're in support of it, yeah, it's already on the finance and executive committee meetings. Again, it's up to you guys. If you want to make a motion, if you don't want to make a motion, that's fine too. It's just more of just getting an idea if the board is amenable to it.
Would this, how much workload would this bring on your office?
I don't think it would be substantially more because what it would be is it ended up being a part of the cattle call, and we have a lot of traffic misdemeanor tickets up at that time anyway. So it's not a lot added on to it, especially when we're not going to have jury trial demands with it. It's very few and far between, even when we have county ordinance violations, that there's a jury trial demand. And if there's a jury trial demand, then again, it wouldn't be something we'd be handling, and that's not going to take as much time.
As a committee, do we want to discuss it briefly and make a decision or a recommendation, or how would you like to handle it? Are we supportive of it, or?
Charlie, you have no problem doing this?
No. Again, I don't see it taking very much time because it's going to be just a part of the normal negotiation process that we would have with what I said, traffic and misdemeanor tickets. And if it is to move towards a jury trial, which again is just very rare, then it's not going to take much time from my office.
We need to do that in the form of a motion.
You say it's going to executive first?
It's going to be on finance and executive already. So
I make a motion that we recommend that the state's attorney handle Amboy ordinances.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Okay, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. So carried.
thanks.
Okay, the next three, I'll turn over to the sheriff. And Sheriff, the comment came up something about the jail inspection, and I felt more comfortable putting it on the agenda so that if we did want to discuss it, we could. But if we just wanted to and didn't have it there, I don't want to run into any technicalities. So it isn't down there that we wanted something. If you have something, or if they're going to take the jail away from you because it's non-compliance on something, why?
No, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't bring the inspection with me today, but I did remember that you had it on the agenda, and I know it's on the agenda for the board. It's basically the two main items that we're working on right now and continue to work on is the audit. And that's why you'll see some findings in there that directly or indirectly relate to the commissary and our auditing inside the jail. So until that audit is actually complete, those are going to be incomplete findings on the report. So anything associated with the commissary is going to be stated that way in the report. The other is the cell checks. And I know Jack and I have discussed this for many, many times. What they do is when they do the cell checks, the inspector will come in and just randomly pick a few days and a few times during those days over the last several months. And they'll take an average of the cell check start and end times. And so we are over on some of those dates that they checked, anywhere from 32 minutes up to 40 minutes on the cell checks, where we're supposed to keep them right at 30 minutes. And so our average over that time period is roughly about 32 to 33 minutes. It's coming down since we started this many, many years ago. With the new technology, it does help somewhat, but it still takes a physical body to check all of those cells. And I can give you an anomaly of reasons why we might be a little bit delayed on some of those. It could be a heavy court call day. It could be a variety of arrests at the same time period that they were selected or supposed to be doing the checks. I know we're getting them done very frequently. We're just not hitting that 30-minute mark on every single item that the inspector checked at that time. Jack, is that pretty much your recollection from your past inspection experience as well?
There's a lot of things that could take an effect too, you know, when you got an officer that's doing a cell check. And I can remember when we first got in there, it was taking 7 minutes for an officer to walk around the building. And that's without interruptions, to go and check all the cell blocks. So after your check, you've got 23 minutes to start again. Because when you made that first check, now you're done, it's 7 minutes have passed. So 23 minutes, you got to start again. That's if an inmate doesn't stop you and want to talk to you about something as you're walking through. So that could create a problem. So that's what we ran into back in my day. I'm going to say a year and a half ago that we were running into. So I'm sure it's probably the same thing. When some jails dedicate one person just to do cell checks, and that's it. That's all they do. But the manpower that we still have is that problem.
Okay, any further questions? All right, the next two, I'll go ahead and let you go simultaneously on them since they're both the same area.
We also had the grand jury come through, I believe it was last Friday as well. So they have to do an annual walkthrough of the facility as well. So we not only had our VOC inspection, but also the grand jury came through. There's several positive things that are happening in the inspection report if you ever look through it. Matter of fact, a lot more positive than just those two things that I brought up that we need improvement on. And one of them is our record keeping has become a lot more precise and in compliance with what the jail standard is looking for. As a matter of fact, in a couple categories, they're using some of the ways that we're doing our training and record keeping for other facilities as well. So, hats off to Jack and the other jail superintendents that started that program a couple of years ago, and it's being noted by our inspector.
Good,
Just-
thank you. Nice
just for
job,
clarification.
Jack, even if you are retired.
The grand jury is going through this Friday. They didn't go last
Oh,
Friday.
this Friday? Okay, I knew they were coming. I thought it was last Friday when I was going for a couple hours. So, okay, this Friday.
Okay, next topics are both yours, new hire corrections and
Yeah, we discussed that briefly before the meeting started, and we have an opportunity with a couple new hires, and these are new, not replacement hires, based on our budget meetings and the budget you're about to take a look at again this month and certainly approve next month, where we can bring one new hire in for patrol and one for corrections. Possibility on both of these particular individuals. One's from out of state, one's from another facility. So they both have experience. So they be coming in as lateral transfers. For us and for the county, it's less expensive to bring them in that way. Obviously, we still have to outfit them with gear and equipment, and uniforms and things of that nature. But it does take away the cost for especially the patrol academy, which is 14 weeks. And it's an upwards of about $9,000 by the time we get them in and out of that academy, and certainly the delay. So they'll be able to start right away. And with 100 hours of web-based training through the Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, they'll be good to go after the FTO program. So a substantial decrease in the actual time we can get them on the road if we can hire them sooner than December 1st. And I do have money in the salary line item to pay for an additional month for each of those employees if we could get them in before December 1st. So it's within the budget. It's just an opportunity for us to bring them in without having to delay any further and wait for an academy. So just thought I'd bring that up for discussion for this committee. It's on the finance agenda as well. I just want everybody to be aware of what we'd like to do. They've not been hired yet. They still have to go through a couple more parts of our hiring process, but yet there's an opportunity.
anybody else have any questions? I have one last one. What's the approximate wait time to get somebody in an academy for a straight new hire?
Yeah, that's the problem that we've been facing here the last year and a half. So our next slot is August of 2022 to get somebody in the patrol academy. Yeah, significant delays.
So it sounds like it's a win situation to get these guys that are already trained.
That'd be ideal if we could, yes.
Now, these are the new guys that are approved in the upcoming budget. Do you also have, I get tangled up in this, how many replacements? You got somebody retiring and.
Oh, it's yeah, it's been crazy. I'm trying to keep it straight myself. So we just hired a replacement hire, started last Monday. Came from the Cordova nuclear plant in corrections. And that was for a departure that we had early in August. And I think that's the most recent replacement hire we've had. The other two happened earlier this year, and that's in patrol. We have a deputy that is just now today, graduating from the academy, and will be starting patrol when he gets back later this week. So.
Okay,
Moving target, and I can't.
I'm trying to keep it straight too, Marilyn.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
all right, thanks, Sheriff. Okay, so far, the last thing on the agenda you should have in your packet or your information there is a resolution for an appointment to the West Brooklyn Fire Department. Mike, can you pronounce that last name for me? I was thinking that it might have been Matasius, but I don't think.
Matthew, Bill Matthew.
Okay,
That doesn't look that bad. There's no one-
well, it just confused me because there was a Matasius that was in the area and I didn't know if we left it, okay. Okay, I entertain for a motion to move that on to,
So moved. Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready, Beck? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. So moved. Mr. Boonstra, do we have anything for executive? Okay. Vice Chair, Mr. Nicholson, you snuck in behind me. I didn't have my rear view mirror on my glasses. Is there anything that you'd like to say or any comments? Okay. Anybody else? Last chance. If not, yes, Stacy.
The only thing that I would like to add is, a couple of months ago, I had mentioned that our office was moving forward with a data management program. That's going to be something new for our office. That program houses all the information on all of the clients that we've had in the past, the current ones, and then the future ones that are coming forward. If you recall, I also mentioned that Sarah Leisner was able to build half of the cost of that management program into a grant, so that has been covered by a grant. We will pick up the remaining amount with probation service fees. To move forward with this project, it's a very large project. It's very time consuming. It's going to require a lot of time from IT to help us put this program in place. Probably the biggest part of it is not just the pre-planning of it, but also the data conversion, taking the data that we have now and putting it into the new program, and making those specs match on each program. So I just wanted to share with you that I need a lot of IT right now. I have a lot of IT needs in my office. So I really need the people from IT focusing a lot within my department. And I know there's a lot of projects going on in the county. I know we're moving very forward with IT in the county, which is great. But I just want to make you aware that there's a very large need for IT just in my department.
Has there been enough help from the IT department to help you start carrying on?
It's a slow moving project, you know, and some of it maybe can, maybe the reason to that is a lack of product that's available. But I need the pace to quicken, definitely. I'm on a time frame. I have a contract that needs to be signed. It's been sitting on my desk for a week and I'm just waiting to make sure I've got all of the T's crossed and all of the I's dotted. And it's going to take a couple of people from IT in order to make that happen. So that's just kind of where I'm at, just within my office in regards to IT.
Okay, what about equipment?
Equipment is something that, you know, I'm just waiting on a server, and I know Paul is looking to see and assess what the needs of the county are. I don't think there's any space available in the clerk's office for a server for my information to go on. So he has been kind of troubleshooting that and trying to figure out where to put it and what that might look like. And then the question becomes, is there availability of a server? And I know he's been working on that to determine what that's going to look like.
Do you have a picture or something of a guideline to determine when? I know you said now, and I understand that and I agree with it, but do you have a target date to get it all started?
Yeah, when we had initially started talking about this, for me, an ideal time to have this installed is in November, because there's a little bit of a slowdown in the courts in through the holidays of December and maybe about the first week of January. That gives my staff a perfect opportunity to get used to this new program. We can make sure we've got all of our data entered into it. We can make sure that data is accurate. So my time frame is getting shorter and shorter in order to make it happen. And when we talk about data conversion, that takes the cooperation of our IT department, our current vendor, and the vendor that we're going to all have discussions on how to match that information from the system that we have into the system that we're going in, because not everything is labeled the same in both systems. So that IT really facilitates those conversations and make sure that that happens. When we did this before, it was a very large project to take on. And I know at that time in working with Mike McBride and Christy Pruin, there was a lot of time that was spent just on the data conversion.
Okay, I'll get with you on that afterwards. Okay. Anybody else?
There was something that was addressed in Ad Services the other day about reaching out to Sauk Valley and Best about helping out with our Zoom in some of the evenings. So that way it frees up Jonathan a little bit. Is that something we can do, Wendy, for her?
You beat me to the microphone, Jack, because I was about to add that. Quite honestly, I spoke with Stacy. I'm sorry, not Shelley, Stacy this morning, right before the meeting, and have a better understanding of what her needs are. And the topic did come up at admin, and I did speak with Paul yesterday about some other priorities that I've got on my plate. So recognizing that he gets pulled in 25 different directions, I think we need to have a more comprehensive conversation, even if it's an interim solution, whether it be subcontracting out some of these things that we need to get past the crunch here. But I'm very disappointed to hear that, Stacy's got a timeline that right now is under crunch time. So I definitely want to pursue that. What came up at administration was the idea of hiring somebody else to help with the Zoom meetings. I did speak with Paul about that yesterday, and he seemed very receptive to that. His one concern, well, no, two concerns were, number one, the hiring and training process does take time, and that could take away from a project such as Shelley's. But the bigger concern he had, he conveyed to me, was that the budget's about to be laid over on the table, and it does not include right now any additional resources for staff there. I reminded Paul, though, that while it is true, the Finance Committee will be very annoyed that this didn't come up before now. But I also reminded him that would he rather have the Finance Committee annoyed with them, or would he rather have all of us annoyed with them? And we've got to find a solution. And if that means coming outside the budget process to come together with a solution, I think we've got to prioritize that. Because I can relate to Shelley. I've also got some things on the agenda, and I think Paul is trying. I think he's doing the best he can, but I think we've got to find some other solutions, even if they're consulting on an interim basis, to get past this.
We have a prime example of an intern that is.
I see that right in front of me even.
Yes. Is there anything out of all of the topics that are involved in this that we could pick up an intern or two to come in
and we did work through Best, and that's also on the table. So actually, after this meeting this morning, I was going to chat with Jonathan and see if he has any suggestions at admin on Monday. It came up, or on Tuesday, it came up to check with Sauk and see if there's anybody. In the last situation, we identified Jonathan and we went to Best and said, we have this candidate, what can we do? And so they were more than happy to work with us, but we came forward with the candidate. And I think if we proactively can do that again, it'll bode well for a potential Best, situation. So I was going to pick Jonathan's brain. Jonathan, be thinking about that. I'll be looking to pick your brain in a little bit.
should you choose to accept this mission.
I gave you a heads up. You can't say I didn't.
Okay, anything else?
I apologize, I stepped out, but you're talking about IT. And I think if you talk to every department head, they've probably got some projects, maybe not as elaborate as Stacy's. But I know I just sent Paul an email, not just a couple of days ago, and had a list of about 10 to 12 items. And we do triage. 6 of them are pretty critical that we need to get done as well. I think IT is doing a good job. Don't get me wrong, but I think in the day and age of all our new technology and the way we want to go, it certainly would be beneficial for them to have some additional help. And he's also fighting with, what we're all fighting with was when you order any kind of equipment, especially IT equipment right now, it's back ordered for months. I mean, we've all been waiting for laptops, I'm sure, in one area or another, and they're 4, 5, 6 months behind in getting, so that's not his fault at all. But I would certainly be an advocate for additional staff, whether it be interns, whether it be somebody through BEST, temporary workers, whatever it might be, to help him get through some of this stuff, because there's a lot on his plate. And I'm sure every department head has some projects for him.
And I agree with John. I think if you polled the department heads, you would find there's just a lot of IT needs out there right now. And we just got to find the best solution to go forward and quickly be able to address them for projects like Stacy's that are time sensitive. So I would suggest, and I will volunteer to grab Paul again and sit down and talk to him and say, we've got to find some solutions that are going to meet these needs in the immediate future. What are they? Are they consulting for some of the big projects? What is it going to take? But I think we have to find some solutions.
I think the resources are out there through Sauk Valley. I think we need to tap them. I know they would be very appreciative of utilizing whoever we can, however we can. So.
And again, I would concur with what John said. This is not a consideration or concern of the job that Paul's doing, but rather a consideration and concern about the amount, the volume of work that needs to be done. And I don't think any single human being could tackle everything that he's got on his plate. So we got to find another way.
And I don't think our conversation should even go in the direction of discrediting Paul or any of the IT staff. I mean, if you start out with 2 cows in the herd and end up with 2,000 and you only have one person taking care of them, it's not the person's fault, but his responsibility of it. It's just overwhelming, and it's just something that's all hitting at one time or one period. So I think we need to look into it. I think we can get some more help from Sauk Valley.
So don't be surprised if we come back to the table and annoy all of you with the idea that we should have done this 3 months ago when we put in our budgets. I think things have come to a head here in the last month, certainly. And I think we do need to address it. So we'll get a plan and come back.
Well, I think we're all starting to take a more refined or more technical approach to what is being asked for and what's being done and how it's being done, who's doing it, and where the help is needed. We just need to focus on where the help is needed and take care of it. Thanks, Wendy. Anybody else? If not, I'm not even going to move. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Nobody wants to quit.
Is Arthur's willing to cater, Becky?
Well, we could have done that if we'd had a little warning.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Let's get this done.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marilyn, second by Jack. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed.